Hey everyone, welcome. I am going to start off with
Welcome to our first lecture on group stages. In this lecture,
forming, storming, norming, and performing. If I can get a table. So give it just a second. Actually, I can do it here and go get the cable in the meantime. So 1 second there.
welcome to our first lecture on group stages. In this lecture, we will be looking at the first stage of group development, forming, as part of our group skills in substance abuse counseling course. As we look over the objectives for the week, I want to remind you to review the chapters for the week prior to viewing the lecture, as it is intended to supplement your reading. By the end of the week, you should be able to identify the factors necessary for forming a group and describe the tasks of a beginning group. As your book points out, there are many ways to categorize and describe the stages that functional groups go through, and despite the differences in labels, most agree that groups go through between 4 and 5 stages in the life of a group. Back in the 1970s, 2 researchers named Tuckman and Jensen identified 5 stages of group development: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjoining. This still stands as a very common way for discussing group development. You may refer to the table in your book on page 84 if you want to see a comparison of a few different ways that authors have conceptualized the stages and transitions of group development. Forming a group is a process that takes several steps, and although some of the steps may be completed at the same time, none may be skipped if the group is going to form properly and thrive. First, every group relies on a clear and thoughtful rationale for existence. Groups that attempt to form without a strong rationale are likely to be unproductive and potentially harmful for their members. Leaders must also decide on the theoretical framework from which to work, and the theoretical format should be appropriate for the purposes of the group. The successful formation of a group also relies on practical planning, like the meeting time and place, and leaders should consider potential obstacles in planning this group. Considering how will members get to the meeting. If the group's intended for a certain population, say school-aged children or elderly people, transportation may be a specific issue to address. Publicized group is another consideration that is addressed during the forming stage, and it's important to keep in mind that how a group is announced influences both the ways that it will be received by potential members and also the kind of people who will join. Take some time to consider whether word of mouth, personal contact, and/or written announcements will best suit your intended audience, and that will contribute to the intentionality of your group formation. Screening and pre-training are processes that involve meeting potential members either individually or in a group format to determine who should join a group and who should not, by identifying needs, expectations, and commitment, challenging myths and conceptions, and conveying information to those potential members. This is an opportunity not only for group leaders to select members, but also for potential members to make sure that the group is something they're truly interested in. Once members have been selected, pre-training serves as almost an orientation session to help members get acclimated. The selecting of group members and group leaders can be seen as an outcome of the screening and pre-training, with leaders selecting group members and group members selecting to be part of the group those leaders.
I know. You need any sweet
Once we have a group, there are a number of tasks that must be accomplished during the first session, including dealing with apprehension, reviewing goals and contracts, specifying rules,
yogurt,
setting limits,
Cody.
promoting positive interchange among members, and resolving potential group problems. A certain level of anxiety is considered a natural part of beginning groups, and group leaders can address anxiety directly in the group or work to clarify any issues that seem to arise as a result of member anxiety. Reviewing goals and contracts within the group is an opportunity to restate the purpose of the group during the first stint and allow members to share more about their own personal goals. Although some groups may begin with an established set of group
Yeah, this
rules,
one,
the
Nikita
first
said
session is a
these
great
work.
time to review these rules and also allow members to make contributions to the rules. Stating this, rather than having a rule against.
Remember you mentioned. So we're basically going through the.
Holding focus on interesting topics or shifting focus when topics are irrelevant or interesting to only a few members by cutting off any hostile or negative interaction as well.
Is that even
There are a
round?
number of problems that can occur during the formation of a group and afterward, some of which involve people and some of which involve process. Subgroups are one such example of a problem that can come up in group process.
So it's starting a group.
Together and may become troublesome. Leaders must remain tuned in to interaction patterns, potentially by providing more direction for interaction through exercise or activity. Your textbook authors also address this with group member behavior, and the caution that I want to echo as you consider difficult member roles during the first session is that the tendency to label members based on their behavior can be
Still
incredibly
pretty quiet.
and disrupt the success of the group. Rather than labeling members based on potentially difficult behavior, it's helpful instead to see that behavior as a symptom of issues that develop the group and approach that are not. For instance, silent members may be feeling hostile or attempting to withdraw from the group, but they may also shy, reflective, or simply slow to assert themselves. Instead of seeing a silent member as difficult, it can be helpful to ask a simple open-ended question like, what do you think about what the other members have been saying? Pages 102 to 104 provide strategies for the beginning stage of a group, and I would encourage you to review these pages carefully as they're quite helpful. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, I'll ask you to view clips to illustrate the issues we're discussing. To access the videos, you may need to sign in using your UCID and password. You should then be connected directly to the videos. If you have any trouble accessing the video once you've successfully logged in, try using the link again or searching for the video title. This one is titled Leading in the Here and Now, the Initial Stage. In our first viewing, we'll see a new group coming together and forming. In the coming weeks, I'll ask you to view 2 more videos as we watch the same group grow and develop. This first video lasts about an hour, so I encourage you to either carve out time to view this in one sitting, or split the video into smaller segments and watch it over the course of a couple viewings. As you watch this week, try to look for the tasks that exist in the beginning group. As members and leaders deal with apprehension, review goals and rules, begin to set limits, promote a positive.
So I taught with Jennifer, now it's Dr. Jennifer, at the University of Cincinnati, and we taught this class during the summertime. And strangely, it's been many years, but they still have that same format for teaching groups and how to lead a group. And you guys observed a group for your first project.
Promote a positive interchange among
And
members.
so this slide I kind of go through, but here's the summary slide, and then we'll go through it.
Forming is characterized by initial caution associated with any new experience, attempting to avoid being rejected by others. During this first stage of group development, group members try to be superficial, center conversation around historical or future events that do not have a direct impact on the group. Tasks during this beginning stage include dealing with apprehension, reviewing member goals and contracts, specifying rules, setting limits, and promoting positive interchange. This serves to conclude our lecture on forming, and I will see you next week.
So we tried to make a lot of this that you guys could review when you needed to, like go back to. But the initial stage of a group, they always do this rhyming mechanism. So they go forming, storming, norming, adjourning. Let's see if I can get, that's weird, it just popped off again. And there's a few that I have also used that were helpful. How was, if you were able to do it, observing your group when you observed your group?
You said, what was the second part?
How was it like if you were able to observe a group already?
It was a positive atmosphere. It was different. Just kind of see people and like real life problems for real. Like different than like knowing somebody, oh, they have this, and that, and everyone in groups and actually seeing people and their lives, come together and talk about it.
So yours was a AA meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's it's helpful and weird that it's online now, like, because as social workers, we're also in person, like everything we're going to do. Have you ever volunteered or worked at a summer camp or done any of the? So, with that being said, you kind of get the in-person component. Can you imagine trying to do the camp over Zoom?
We wouldn't have the same engagement. They actually gave pretty good engagement. And it was like people from like a lot of different places, like not just from Ohio,
Okay,
like Portland and this other guy who's like from Panama.
really?
So it was like kind of like a different feeling than in person.
Was in Ohio also
But
when you did the group
I think it was
or the
Ohio.
summer camp, I should say.
Oh yeah, the group. No, it wasn't Ohio.
Okay. The group you observed was AA online, and then
The summer camp was in Michigan.
okay, and it couldn't be probably replicated online, which is kind of my example for why certainly there are ways to do online groups, and like AA has gotten that semi down pat. Did you guys have a Zoom bomber during your group ever?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen that or heard about that before?
We talked about it just class.
Oh, really? Does
Just like come on like court meetings.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah. That is weird. Okay. Right. Right. So this is the one I often use for storming. Well, it's usually forming, storming, norming. Let's see if that pulls it up. Have you ever seen the movie Remember the Titans? And I like to show this one. My concern is that they also kick me offline because it's like copyrighted, if that makes sense. So I am going to go ahead and attempt to show some of it. Actually, okay, this might be a good way to do it because if I cut it up, they've got forming on this one. Let's see if I hit view all. And then it has storming, forming, norming, and adjourning. So the first one is, yeah, this is the second one. So forming, this one is storming. And it's a good way to explain how people do the traditional, what you guys will get out of the book. Like this is what you would be reading in the book. This is a video piece of what a group would look like in the forming stage. Usually nobody knows each other. You're trying to get to know each other. You're reserved. You don't want to act too goofy. You're laid back, however it may be. Second stage is storming here. So often there's like a fight or somebody, I don't know, disagrees. Even in class, sometimes this happens. You might even observe this in class. So it starts out with forming the group. That's often your first week or two of class. Setting the boundaries, knowing what's going on. And you guys as group leaders would do this. Then you'll have storming. You might have somebody that didn't want to be there and they find out and they quit, and that's fine. It's good to get them out than keeping them in to like screw up the group or Zoom bomb. Norming is when like you kind of get to a place where you are coherently coming together as a team. I'm trying to use the right language. Performing then, and they use this with the football example, is then they have to like play in the playoffs and then win the championship. And then adjourning is like end of the season or end of class when you guys write your final paper and we finish. And all group explanations use these. I don't know why. This became the most famous, probably because it rhymes. And this,
Remember the title, like a football movie or like
it is a football movie, right? So their sense of the group here is when the football players first come together, probably the same in a semester in August. Storming, they're all getting in fights like I'm the best on the team or I'm the leader, whatever it is. Norming, like they identify their places and positions and start working together, performing. Say it's like end season or playoff time, and then adjourning, like how do you end the group or end the semester? Like we even have it in class. You guys, most groups are 8 to 10 weeks. So if you are doing these, say this is the first 2 weeks, 3, 4, and 5. Then you got 6 and 7, 8, 9. Adjourning would be 10. And it's like successful completion, successful graduation. So let me play the first one and see if this.
Tough guy. You look like a bunch of 5th grade sissies after a cat fight. You got anger, that's good. You're gonna need it. You got aggression, that's even better. You're gonna need that too. But any little 2-year-old child can throw a fit. Football is about controlling that anger, harnessing that aggression into a team effort to achieve perfection. Coaches, they cut a player, they think he's not up to snuff. They think he's hurting the team. This is a public school program. I will never, ever cut a player who comes out to play for me. But when you put that uniform on, that Titan uniform, you better come to work. We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection.
So this is their first stage of the group. They're all, if you know football or sports, did you play sports growing up? So cross country in August, when you're doing these stupid drills, do they make you do the leg lifts? Stretching, conditioning, you run the 1 mile. So, which is interesting because that is different than the full length video. I was seeing if I broke it up, it won't cut me out because of copyright here, but it was different than this one. And so look at the group as a class, a sports team. Obviously here we're catering it to a mental health group. So we're making that mental health group. And this is what I'll do though, is the shortened ones. Maybe this doesn't play. I think it's the music that tips off YouTube and then it shuts me down. So if this cuts out the music.
Put your hand down. You smiling? Yes, sir. Why are you smiling? Because I'm fun, sir. It's fun. You sure? I think. Now you're thinking. First you smile, then you think. You think football is still fun? Yes, sir. Yes, no. No, sir. But it was. Not anymore, though, is it? Is it? No, no, it's not fun anymore. Not even a little bit. No. Make up your mind. Think, since you're thinking now. Go on. Is it fun? No, sir. No. Absolutely not. Zero fun, sir. All right, listen up. I'm Coach Boone.
That's the forming part. So
Son, you missed the block by a mile. You didn't have the football to fumble this time. There's no excuse. No excuse. You want to play football or not? Do you want to play football? Like, get over there on the bench. Earl, take over.
are they that tough in cross country? I feel like they're not. I ran cross country.
not that tough, like,
Right.
but like maybe like the workout is a little tough.
What's the longest miles you guys had to run? 7 or 8 or 9.
So like during the meet they want you to run 3.1 miles.
Yes.
Our coach was like practice hard, so
Yes.
we'll run maybe like 6.
That's what I did. I started at a really good school, but then I got in trouble and got kicked out and finished at a different high school. And what was good though is I learned from the really hard school with like the leg lifts, the stretching, all those different things that like get your core strong, which I was like, why are we even doing this? We should just be running. Well, if you get the core strong, you run uphills better, all that. We actually won NVC in like our Miami Valley conference, and that was nice. Let's see here. I'll play this one now. This one actually itemizes them, and it's not like a shitty filming. So here it is. Yeah. Forming, storming, norming, adjourning, performing.
Right, listen up. I'm Coach Boone. I'm going to tell you all about how much fun you're going to have this season. We leave for camp, Gettysburg College, August 15th, 7:29 a.m. If you report at 7:30, you will not be playing football this season. You will be watching. You will wear a jacket, shirt, and tie. If you don't have one, buy one. Can't afford one, then borrow one from your old man. If you don't have an old man, then find a drunk, trade him for his. I can guarantee you this. If I'm on the street that looks as raggedy and ridiculous as what I'm looking at right now, this is no democracy. It is a dictatorship. I am the law. If you survive camp, you will be on the team. If you survive.
I'm guessing this was a school that may have combined.
None of us can see nothing but the bench this year. You ain't calling the shots, you'll play.
So they got to form a group and all work together as a team. You know what I mean? Like maybe one of the other schools closed. I haven't seen the movie. I know some folks have, but this is stage 2 of a group.
All right, listen up.
Storming.
Let's go. Follow me, everybody. Let's go right now.
Still part of forming, and they're about to get into storming. So they're forming the team, working together.
Listen up. I don't care if you're black, green, blue, white, or orange. I want all of my defensive players on this side, all players going out for offense over here, right now. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. You and you, offensive bus, sit together. You and you, defensive bus, sit together. Get comfortable too. Because the person that I have to sit next to is the same one that you'll be
I forget, it's kind of the music that tips it off. So I'm going to talk over it a little bit. Now this is storming. So they were doing forming. Here's the fight.
I'm Gary, you're Julius. Let's get some particulars and just get this over with, all right?
Let's say this.
Yeah.
No matter what I tell you, you ain't gonna never know.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna know more of these three of them, okay?
What I got to say, you really don't want to hear, because honesty ain't too high on your priority list, right?
Honesty? You want honesty? All right, honestly, I think you're nothing. Nothing but a pure waste of God-given talent. You don't listen to nobody, man. Not even Dr. Boone. Ship and push on the line every time, man. You blow right past him. Push him, pull him, do something. You can't run over everybody in this league. Every time you do, you leave one of your teammates hanging out to dry. Me in particular.
I'm not even about you. Huh? Or anybody else out there. You want to talk about a way you captain, right?
Right.
Captain's supposed to be the leader, right?
Right.
You got a job?
I have a
You're
job.
doing your job?
I've been doing my job.
Then why don't you tell your white buddies to block for Red Feather? Because they have not blocked for him or for Plug Nickel, and you know.
That was the storm. And they're
All right.
going to
We're gonna be
norming
here all
now.
night till we get this thing right. Let's go. On the ball, man. What was that? Whatever it is, it ain't blocking.
Give me a break.
You know what I'm talking to? A break? Julius, what?
Wait. She said, let me
Hit the
know.
red once, just one time. I swear to God, if I hit you so hard by the time you come to, oh boy, you're gonna need a new haircut. You understand me? Let's play, fellas. Balls again. You really stuck him, Campbell.
Yeah, love me, contact these.
So sometimes you need a little conflict. And now it's performing.
I swear to God,
I didn't hear it. Swear to God.
the rest of the repertoire was this. Got 1 minute. Take me the time.
Johnny back.
Coach, go back in. Not a quarterback. You make that pitch, coach. Now, I lost my mother and my father in the same month, brother. Same month. 12 brothers and sisters. I was the youngest one, but they were all looking up. Now, I wasn't ready yet either, but they needed me. Your team needs you tonight. You're the colonel. You're going to command your troops tonight. You understand? Twins right, 48-0 read.
What's the matter? I'm sure seeing football where you miss. Let's go. Show some like back it down. All right. Let's you release this time. Do it. Let him feel all right. What? Just let him feel. Trust me.
The quarterback, give me coach.
So that they're still on performing.
With a backside George reverse. You got that? Fake 23 blast with a backside George reverse like you like it. Let's go. QB. Come on, Dave! Come on, Dave!
So I think it's an old movie, and just showing over like 8 to 10 weeks the cohesion and coming together and the challenge in between. I don't think the music has tipped it off yet. And then adjourning, I think somebody did die in the middle, so they're at a funeral at the end. I forget how they do it.
People say that it can't work black and white. Here we make it work every day. We have our disagreements, of course. But before we reach for hate, always, we remember the Titans.
It's probably a 20-year-old movie, maybe 30. Oh, there it is. All footage and sounds used in production of this is copyright of Walt Disney Pictures. That's why Walt Disney's a multi-millionaire. So while running the group, obviously it's not football, but this was the analogy that worked with a lot of our other classes. And that first one is about forming. I know we covered legal and ethical first, but the group stages. So sometimes they throw this at you guys on the licensure test, like when you want to get your social work license. Just the stages of the group. And again, it is forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. And I hate that they all rhyme that way, but just going through with this forming a group here, you're developing rationale, you're deciding which theory you're going to use. If it's addiction recovery, maybe you're using motivational interviewing, maybe it's some other form of addiction recovery. It could be the 12 steps, Alcoholics Anonymous. You weigh all the practical concerns, because when you get hired as a social worker, they'll even have you there to publicize the group. Also screening people, like if you found someone who wasn't ready for the group and might screw it up, Zoom bomb. That was interesting. Selecting group members and then selecting a leader. In the beginning, tasks are dealing with apprehension. Reviewing the contract, and I have paperwork that I'm going to share with you guys that are helpful, because a lot of that is really the contracts you use for your notes. When you do an assessment and the person signs that they want to do therapy or treatment, they sign the contract there. You set the limits. For us at the private practice, if they have 2 no call, no shows, like we'll take them off the books because other people want to be in there. That's whether it's individual therapy or a group. Setting the limits, promoting positive interchange among group members. So you're kind of the one who keeps things together for everybody. And then resolving potential group problems. So this could be manipulators, resistors, monopolizers, users of sarcasm. And that's a big one, is that's often showing how things are uncomfortable for them. And then focusers on others, like those who won't talk about themselves, especially if it is a mental health group. So essentially, when you're doing stage 1 of the group forming, it's characterized by initial caution associated with the new experience, attempt to avoid being rejected by others. And that's both the person who's leading it, you as the social worker, and the people that are there. Group members try to be superficial and center conversation around things in the past or things like going in the future. Like in addiction recovery, we'd always have like, I'm going to get off probation. I'm going to smoke the biggest, fattest blunt you could make and drink all the booze I can because I'm off probation, stuff like that. It's like, no, you're here now. You have to pee for a probation officer. We're focusing on recovery. The past events could be like when I got arrested, I ran from that, police officer, and they didn't find me until blah. So, and you try to get them to be in the here and now. And then the task is dealing with that apprehension, like they don't want to be sober. Review member goals and contracts, and the goal could be like pee clean for probation officer, and the contract to successfully graduate recovery. Specify rules, set limits, promote positive interchange. So I know that's a lot at once. Any questions on forming? How to form a group. Because they will ask you to do this by will you do internship next year?
If I get everything done.
How many hours do you have?
20 hours.
Like, are you 60 done or 30 done right now?
I don't know.
Usually, so freshman year, you do 15 in the fall, 15 in the spring. So you got to have 30. Sophomore year, you do 15 in the fall.
How many
15.
credits on that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I have like 60, maybe like 62.
Oh, yeah. So you're a junior. And then next year, you either do your internship fall or internship spring. You get to choose. And a lot of them have you lead a group. I don't know why. I guess because they know you practice. So that's why I say when we lead the group, and that's the next assignment, I can dip into a bit of that now because I have the info on leading the group. You can, when you guys interview, say that you have already had experience with leading a group. That seems to go over very well with them because where the heck is D2L there? Okay. Because leading group is the big money maker. That's why they always want interns to do it too. They want everybody to do it. So that's why they don't even kick out interns. They're like, all right, you're the intern. You're going to lead this group. And sometimes they just throw it to you. It's like, why? Like, I'm used to sitting back in school and listening to everything and watching YouTube videos while the teacher's teaching a class. Like, I don't want to perform, like, I don't want to, but I guess go time for you is a year and 3 months from now, isn't it? Because you'll graduate in a year and 3 months. May 15th, 2025. Frightening, exciting, scary, fun.
Not really frightening. I felt like it was, and I really didn't have like a clear direction. I thought what I wanted to do after.
Right. Now you're getting there a little more close to it. Okay. And so you'll do your first internship next year. And in if you choose to go to grad school, you got 11 months in grad school. You'll do 2 more internships somewhere. Were you interested in Miami? I can't remember. More than UC, or you haven't been to UC yet?
I don't know.
Okay. It sounds like they have more money. You know what I mean? Like, I know that it is specific to school-based, but it doesn't matter. Once you get your license, say maybe you have to work there for a year and you're done, you got that license, you go wherever you want. You know what I mean? You don't have to just be school-based if you go to, now your training will be, you'll have a specialty in school-based, but once you got your license, that's what's so cool about social work. You go wherever you want. Leading the mental health groups. I'll show you. Do you have any questions about some of that? Your next 15 months are pretty big. You know when you have to apply by?
You said, I think it's like April.
Oh, they do make it late for us.
Like they,
Like if you're a senior.
yeah.
But they would want it. You're a junior, so if you were a senior, that's the case. I don't think we had. Do we have any seniors go on that trip? Okay, so they're just trying to show that they're flexible. But ideally, if you want money, grad schools do them in November, turn them all in December. If you want to get money and scholarships, and one of us, me, Nikita, Isha, or Karen Johnson Jordan, have to write a letter of rec, which is fine. Why can't I spell circle today?
Are they planning on the trip to UC?
Usually there is one. The issue we have is like, we kind of need one of us to show up. And like, that's just extra work on the weekend. You know what I mean? Like now Nikita's got a baby. Nisha has 2. I've got 4 by September next year. That's going to be the one little holdup. So hopefully maybe Perdomo's can go. Let's see here. This one is more like you can do it by, we'll do Leap Day. That's fun. I didn't know it was Leap Day. And then I'll give you the Girls Circle manual. So yeah, do your application, get your grades up to as high as you can. Did they give you any GPA pointers?
I think they just said they signed it at 2.75, and they talked to us about like the
Okay.
application process.
Okay, that sounds great.
Ask them about the acceptance rate and stuff like that.
What is their acceptance rate?
It's high.
Is it?
That's what they said. I mean, the application kind of seemed easy, like they weighed the application for you.
Is that because the grant is specific for Central State graduates, you think?
I'm not sure.
I think so, which is fine, because I remember being on their selection committee, and we rejected people below a 2.8. Maybe it is. If you have above a 2.9, your acceptance is high. But if you have below a 2.9, the acceptance is low.
But yeah, that's what they had said. They just talked about like the transcript, the person's statement,
Okay.
and I think we get placed in the field.
Gosh, when what was that? Just 6 days ago?
Kind of. Well, it happened on Saturday, not Friday.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, when in the heck was that? Okay. Here is your relationship with peers curriculum. So you guys can obviously do any group you would like, any mental health group. If you find something up on the internet, if you find things of that nature.
Is there a site to find normal groups?
That would be nice, wouldn't it? I bet if you Googled it or searched it or put it in a search engine, there would be some. But here is the one I always give you guys for free. Relationship with peers. Oh, is that why I'm screwing it up? You do search instead of this one. Relationship with peers. There it is. That's all. It highlights it when you got. So here's the curriculum. I'll have you guys pick a date in the next 2 weeks. Maybe that's how I have to do it. So I want y'all to start and finish doing, and then you'll pick a date in a week. So here's some examples. Like if we use relationship with peers. Gosh, how many things do I have called? There it is. So this group cost Lighthouse $10,000 to get the curriculum. That's because it tells you literally start to finish how to lead a group. So you get in, you go to the table of contents, and you jump right in, and it gives you all the themes. Here's the 10-week guide. So week 1 is connecting with each other. Week 2 is labels, how you label your friends. Week 3 is expressing myself, and I'll show you how they, come on, man. 4 is accepting all different parts of myself. 5, cultivating respect. 6, giving voice to feelings. 7 is giving voice to feelings part 2. 8 is always a popular one, romantic relationships. What is it worth to you? 9 is girl fights or girlfriends. And then 10 is wholeness and completion. So each one is its own week. And right out of the gate, it's showing you how, God, get this, how to run the group. So here is, like literally you can do this step by step. You'll have the opening ritual. Begin the circle with an opening ritual that marks the commencement of the, how do I zoom in? Here it is. Of the circle process, fosters a special tone. Some people light a candle, some might ring a bell, like the mindfulness bell, meditation. Some might have each patient say a word how they're feeling, like highs and lows of the week. You can go around the room. Silence, music, sharing a special reading, holding hands and stating intention, setting an altar, lighting individual candles. Those are all options. Then part 2, you're going to theme introduction. I always say, as people are like, well, how long? We couldn't bill for anything unless if it was a minimum of 15 minutes. Like if you want to write a billable note, you want to run through these and take your time. Ideally, they're an hour, which is a 53-minute billable note. If you submit to Medicaid, you were there from 1 until 1:53. Maybe that's why they do classes for 50. Ideally, you're saying at Lighthouse, or you guys leading them now, or both? Yeah, Lighthouse would, usually they're 10 weeks because they do them every season, like winter, fall, spring, summer. And they'll do 10 weeks of a group and have like a week or 2 off for recruitment. Then they do another one. And it's just like a cyclical calendar of a semester. Yeah, quarters in the school used to be 10 weeks. So yeah, they run them every week. We at least would do 38 minutes because then you can bill for 45 minutes. 23 minutes allows you to bill for 30 minutes. I don't know if you've ever heard of the billable increments. When you start writing notes, it'll become normal language to you within a year and a half. Because, you know, when you write your note, you're not going to write a note for 7 minutes and not get paid for it. But if you did a phone call and it was 8 minutes long, you get a 15-minute case management phone call list. 23 minutes, you're not going to like see somebody for 20 minutes and then bill for it because all you had to do was make it 3 more minutes and they pay you for 30-minute session, which is, you know, $45 to the agency. Same with a 45-minute billable note. It has to be 38 minutes. So I don't know why they do the cutoff like half. So every 8 minutes, if that makes any sense. And then that's why people for this class asked, like, well, how long? Generally, say 15 minutes would be the shortest group you would ever want to do. Is you could have like 10 people in here, you're billing for 15 minutes. And that would be, you would get paid for like 33 times, I can't do the math in my head, but you would get paid as if like the group, if there's 10 people, you're getting paid 10 times the 15-minute note, which is $33 an hour. So whatever, oh yeah, that's how it would be. A quarter of 33, which would be like $8 times 10. You get $80 for a 15-minute group. Usually groups aren't 15 minutes, but I want you guys to start like the bare minimum. Some people would take the whole class time. Then they do the theme introduction. So introduction of the theme is presented by a facilitator, usually a short synopsis of what's happening. Check-in, they give you the activity. That's what's cool. So this thing, I just posted it up. I hope you got either an email or it's in your assignments. But it tells you every single thing to do. So here's your check-in. There's your activity. It will be verbal activities. I want to jump to week 1 as it tells you what to do next. So this is just generic of what all of the weeks do, and then the closing ritual. So let's jump to week 1. If you guys are doing it.
It only has the thing that was doing February 1st.
What'd you say?
It only has the thing that was doing February 1st.
Oh, do I have to hit publish? Oh, there it is. Leading a mental health group. Use Girls Circle if wanted. And I'll do another one. Pick a date to lead a mental health group in person. Either this month or next month. So we'll have that one due on Ash Wednesday. I didn't realize Ash Wednesday is Valentine's Day this year. So that you guys got 14 days for that one. You got 29 days to, you know.
So we just real kind, we have to leave the group class.
Yes. There are, like during COVID, we did have to make exceptions and like make a Zoom room for people. Like I said, it is doable. It just makes it different. It's like trying to do your summer camp over Zoom. You know, like it takes away half of the, especially if it's a trauma-informed care group. Because you always, in trauma, like want to do a project where you're like coloring or mandala. So yeah, here's all of the weeks you can pick from. If you want to do connecting with each other, expressing myself, cultivating respect, voice to feelings, girlfriends or girl fights. And then this is why I like this one. It gives you all of this activity first. Materials, you want a poster, marker, and group guidelines, which I didn't use this room last semester, but we used to just keep markers and paper in here. Journal for each plastic bag's purpose, to help girls become more aware of the relationships to self and others, to have girls express themselves with each other in the group, to facilitate. Now here's you're the facilitator. So for prep, you'll have a journal. And this is just week 1, so you can pick any of these weeks. Or if you find some online, like you said, searching, or if you have like a self-care group or something of that nature, you can create your own. But see how this outlines it for you? It says, do the opening ritual. Choose an opening ritual that will mark the beginning of your girls circle. You can choose the same for each week in the next 8 weeks. The opening ritual invites participants to the unique space. A lot of people do music, lighting a candle, ringing a bell. Then you introduce the theme. It's connecting with each other. The theme is a process of the basic format. Then they even tell you what to say. So this, like, you don't have to, this is almost brainless for you guys. You literally can, it says, sometimes in society, girls' relationships are strained, backstabbing, competition, judgment. Girls Circle aims to develop true relationships and friendships in a healthy way, honest way. Girls place more significance on their relationship with boys or men than the relationship with girls, but love relationships come and go. And for this reason, it's important to develop female relationships that are offer longer lasting friendships and support us. Purpose of Girls Circle. So you can literally put this on a note card or read it case by case or on a PowerPoint. Then you do your icebreaker. It shows you how you're going to do the icebreaker. It has you creating the group guidelines. So it doesn't skip on anything. We'll go over this more again Monday, but does any of that make any sense at all? Okay. Does it seem daunting or scary or anything?
So like, this seems okay for right now. Like, so like during when it's time to actually do it, it's going to be different. Or like making notes, like based on a lesson plan for the group weekly, or thinking about like what I want to say or how I'm going to open up with the icebreaker, closing it out.